Hello!
Friends! We're back, and the first video we're doing upon our return to the booktubes is a TBR video. We figured we'd start easy because we're so rusty at this. It's gonna require some getting used to.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about the books that we hopefully will read in December. I am not very certain that I will tackle this TBR very well because December is usually a busy month for me with all the holiday stuff I get up to.
Well, you never know.
Exactly, but I'm still willing to try.
I will kick things off with a couple of digital things that I wanted to read that are currently on my TBR pile and rereading pile. So I'm currently reading A Minute to Midnight by David Baldacci. I am taking a break from elves for a bit because I just can't stand the actual...
Elves!
I just can't anymore.
Yes, you can.
I can't. I tried several times on the subway, still no go. But A Minute to Midnight is a new series by David Baldacci centering around an FBI agent named Atlee Pine. Her twin sister was a doctor when they were 6, and she only got a fractured skull and a broken life to show for it, and now she tries to fight crime. After the nigh catastrophic events of the first book that she managed to power through, she ended up sort of getting a time off and said, okay, now it's time to solve like your sister's murder. So that's what she's doing. However, while trying to solve her sister's murder, something else sort of happens, and now she's sort of like neck deep in all of that stuff back in her old hometown. So I'm enjoying that. There's no ship here that I hate. So I do. Anyone who's heard me complain on all of our TBRs about like me reading the Shannon Messenger stuff, and she's a great author, by the way, love her. I just can't anymore with elves. Anyway, so that's one. 2, I am also going to read Bloody Rose by Nicholas Ames, who is the author of a book called Kings of the Wild. Alexa has lovingly described it to me as, it's like a Dungeons and Dragons like game, but if people only rolled natural 1s and natural 20s. So things either really work out or they really, really don't.
There's really no in between.
And Kings of the Wild was about a bunch of aging mercenaries who have disbanded but now have to band together because one of them had to do a rescue mission for one of their daughters. Fine. The Expendables meets Dungeons and Dragons meets really great writing. Perfect. Bloody Rose is the second book. It features one of the characters that were mentioned, sort of not central, but definitely key to the first book, and I cannot wait to see what's going to happen there. And of course, speaking of digital, as The Sneer was not for this next book, it will be for the last book that is digital that I'm going to talk about. I do want to read The Trials of Apollo. I'm pretty sure I'm almost done with one, or I'm probably done with one. I can't remember anymore.
I think you finished one already. You were on to 2.
I think I finished one. So now I'm reading 2 and 3 because 4 just came out, Tyrant's Tomb. So those 3 Trials of Apollo books are definitely on my... And he goes through them fast. And I go through them pretty quick, so not very... The Sneer is for Shannon Messenger's Keeper of the Lost Cities book 8 called Legacy. Just came out in November, I want to say. I tried reading it. It was the first thing. I was like, yes, it came out! And I'm reading it, I'm like, oh no, that ship, that hurts me to my soul. And I tell Alexa, every time she complains about the same ship I complain about, I feel that, only like it hurts me 8 times more.
Because it doesn't hurt me quite as much.
At all.
It only hurts me in the sense that I still want the other ship to win.
Right, and so that is on the TBR. So that's my little salvo. We can start with yours and then back and then yours. So.
Okay, I'm going to save my favorite part of my TBR for last. So I'm going to go through a few books that I'm going to read outside of the last thing.
Yeah.
So every month I've been having a friend or family member pick a book for me. I failed at reading November's, so that is also going on my TBR. But I do have an exciting pick for December, and this is a book that my friend Lauren, who blogs over at Fiction Tea and is also on Instagram at Fiction Tea, picked for me. And the book is Vicious by V. Schwab. This is a villain's origin story about 2 best friends who are studying extraordinary people when they're in college, and then they both end up turning into villains, as far as I understand it. So I definitely want to read this one. I am also going to read a Christmas book, and the book in question is 25 Days Till Christmas by Poppy Alexander, and it says, will this Christmas be her best ever? Then we have a couple of arcs that I want to tackle. So first we have A Heart So Fierce and Broken, which is by Bridget Kimmerer. This is the sequel to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I enjoyed that one a lot. It came out this year. This is coming out in January 2020, so I am looking forward to it. Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim, which I mentioned in another TBR previously, way early. This is also coming out in January, and this is basically the Count of Monte Cristo in space. It's about Amaya, who rescues a stranger from drowning. She is given an opportunity by this stranger to infiltrate the place that she wants to infiltrate the most to get revenge on behalf of her family, who were all slain. And then we have Diamond City, which is a fantasy series that is apparently perfect for fans of Lee Bardugo and V.E. Schwab. The 18-year-old main character of this book is named Aina, and she has a bounty on her head because she's a professional assassin. The setting of this one is a little bit more industrial than it is like a fantasy, like a typical fantasy world, so that should be very interesting. I do like the tagline. It says, good things don't happen to girls who come from nothing unless they risk everything.
I have a very ambitious TBR for December as well, mostly because there's too many and there's too little days in the month for me to read them. But Ninth House is on there. This probably extend to my January TBR. I want to say it's Leigh Bardugo's adult novel.
First one, yeah.
She main character discovers like some secret society shenanigans.
Sounds about right.
And tries to fight for justice with a power that she actually does sort of, that is bequeathed to her to sort of fight it. Not maybe supernatural power, I don't know just yet, but there is some paranormal stuff going on here, which I'm looking forward to. So hey, happy to read that.
I think you'll devour that one quick, actually.
One will hope. One will hope. All right.
I think you're like, one will hope.
Speaking of paranormal, this is Elizabeth Webster and the Court of Uncommon Pleas by William Lashner. Blurb goes, the ghost repeated herself 3 times. After a startled moment, I realized what she was saying. Save me, save him. Save me, save him, all the way through. So it's kind of cool. So I guess it's one of those modern-esque kind of ghost stories, and it feels like another secret society piece. So I feel like it's like almost in the same general area as kind of Leigh Bardugo. Speaking of supernatural colleges, I am going to do the best that I can to read The Magician King by Lev Grossman. It is Magician's book 2. I finished the first Magicians, yes.
Dang.
It's a far cry from the actual Magicians that are actually on TV right now. I definitely prefer the TV series better because it's like, well, there's a lot of shock value, but that's not why I love it. But the characters are just so much more jagged and raw.
Okay, gotcha.
In the book, they're a lot more benign, I want to say. But I don't know. I've only read book 1. I know that the TV series might have already burnt through the original source material, but the book hasn't. Awesome. So I just really want to know what happens next. So I just want to get that out of the way. Fun book by Rachel Hartman. I had the pleasure of reading Seraphina. Thanks to Alexa. Seraphina centers a story about a young girl who is in a world that is filled with, dragons who can shapeshift and whatever. And she's just trying to find her place in the world. Yep, and she gets embroiled in a bunch of conspiracies. And she's just trying to survive in a world of humans and dragons. Shadow Scale is a book. It's a companion series. It's a companion book, I want to say. It's not necessarily about Seraphina, but it is in the same realm. I think she's still around. I do want to know what happens next.
No, Seraphina's there.
So
she's definitely there.
So it's going to be super cool. And plus dragons. So that, I feel, will be my crowning achievement for this Christmas season, is to read me another good dragon book. And the cherry on top of that crowning, is that like mixed metaphors? It's supposed to be cherry on top of a cake and a jewel on top of a crown. Would be The Adventurers Guild Book 3. It's written by Zach Lauren Clark and Nick Eliopoulos, and in my theory, fan theory, is that they write the POVs of the 2 main characters, one of which is like a half-elf sort of outcast kid who sort of has a destiny, and then there's the kind of merchant spawn kid who pretends to be like the rich kid who just got rope-a-doped into stuff, but is actually sort of playing a deeper like game with like the guilds, making him sort of like the rogue of the party. It's a love story to D&D. The last book ended on a terrible cliffhanger. Still angry about that, by the way.
Maybe book 3 will make up for it.
Right. Maybe
or give you another cliffhanger.
Or give me another cliffhanger. So this would be, or I have no idea anymore. So I'm hoping this isn't the last book, but if it is, I hope they end it well. This will be the cherry on top of that beautiful TBR cake that I will try to have and eat.
All.
2.
I forgot about an arc, and that's probably why you saw me scrambling around in the video just now. Another one that I will be reading this month is Love Boat Taipei, which is by Abigail Hing Wen. It is about a main character named Ever Wong, and she is away from her parents on a sort of cruise type situation, and that should be interesting. So I will definitely be letting you guys know what I think of this one. The crowning glory of my TBR pile is something that I have been meaning to do for a while now. I don't know if I'll actually finish it. It's a very ambitious project. But if I do, it would be really, really great. I intend to reread the entire Harry Potter series from the 1st to the 7th book. This is the box set of the UK editions, in case you were wondering. I think 1, 2, and 3 will be pretty quick for me, and so will 4, because I love that book. It's usually these 3 where I take a little bit longer to read the story.
Only because it's so heavy.
But I would definitely love to revisit Harry Potter and just fall in love with that series all over again. It's been a year or 2 since I did it the last time, so it's gonna be fun to just dive back in and revisit the story. Plus, Christmas seems like an appropriate time to do this. Hence why it's on my December TBR.
Plus, it's kind of family tradition-ish for one of our
favorite... one of my cousins does that every Christmas. She reads the entire Harry Potter series, so I'm just following in her footsteps. And there you have it. Those are all the TBR books that we aspire to read in December.
A lot.
Who knows if we're going to get them read. Secretly, my other secret goal, which I'm not gonna say I'm actually gonna do, but I'll mention it here anyway just for kicks, because if I do it, it'll be awesome. I intend to read 6, 7, and 8 in the Keeper of the Lost City series. If I do that, I will actually be caught up. Rich. I have a lot of feelings about those books, which you'll see in the future What We Read video, but it'll be fun. she says.
So she says.
Let us know if you've read or plan to read any of the ones that we have on our TBRs, or which one you're the most excited about for us to read.
Because maybe you've read it before, or you kind of want to read it too.
Or you want to know what we think. Enough of us being rusty on camera. We hope you enjoyed this video, and we hope you enjoy seeing future videos from us, because there are going to be quite a few this month since we are making a comeback. Alright
I don't even know
guys,
what that's for.
till next time. Bye.
Bye.